Right, let's get ready. Hi everyone. Welcome to 2022. I guess if we haven't spoken since the new year, happy new year everyone. And yeah, this is the new series of Fibro Friday. I'm starting to do some live streams because Instagram has changed the way things are done, and I cannot just upload the videos beforehand. So I'm just doing live streams now every Friday and just talking about fibromyalgia related stuff. So I have some things to show you today. I have some props and I'll be talking about them in just a moment. But the concept for today's video is about comfort around fibromyalgia. It's something that I've learned to appreciate a lot lately, and doing a few changes into just my general comfort routine and things that just generally make me feel more comfortable overall have sincerely really helped. Particularly after this month when I've been really unwell for other reasons, but it ends up having an impact on fibro. And just in a few weeks, I've managed to actually do a few changes that are really, really effective for me. So if anyone else finds them useful, then, this is what I'm here to share. Hey, Josh, how are you doing? So, yeah, comfort, such an important thing. I know it sounds like obvious, right? But one of the main things that everyone needs to keep in mind when you have a chronic illness of any kind, and particularly fibromyalgia, both for the sake of your pain and your fatigue, is to be as comfortable as possible. Whatever it takes, doesn't matter. Just make yourself as comfortable as possible. And I don't mean just in terms of having, pillows and cushions and that sort of stuff. I also mean like clothes. Make sure that you are actually feeling like your clothes are not binding you, like they're not causing extra pressure, like you can genuinely relax in your clothes. I find it really hard sometimes to, even if you're just sitting in the sofa for half an hour, I find it really hard to sort of relax and let go of the stress and pace myself if I am fully clothed with like my clothes from, I don't know, having gone to the supermarket or whatever. So find that switch in the stuff around you that allows you to be comfortable. And I mean clothes in the same way that I mean like temperature, like particularly now that it's cold, obviously no one likes being cold, but make sure that the temperature that you adjust your surrounding works for you. There is such a thing as making your house too hot and not hot enough. So just find that balance and make sure that it doesn't get over the top or too little. And it's not just about the actual temperature in terms of heating. Make sure that you have the appropriate clothing, blankets, etc. Now on that front, this is where the comfort part comes in. I have actually found that certain things really make things worse for me in terms of comfort long term with my clothes. And I actually came across a few hacks, which they're genuinely nothing terribly major, but once you know the impact that they have, like just doing the change seriously helps. I was recently in Spain, in Santander, visiting my family. The weather there is very different from here in the sense of the climate is a lot more humid, and particularly this time of the year, it's so cold. Like, I know I was born and raised in there and lived there, the vast majority of my life, but I completely deacclimatized myself, right, guys? It was a severe struggle, and it was just really hard. And one of the things that I was really struggling most with was my feet. So even though I would get home and remove my clothes that felt sort of damp or whatever, and the heating would be on and I would change and put on whatever on, my feet would remain cold. And I just couldn't shift it. I literally tried hot water bottles, extra blankets, putting my foot underneath my knee to like sort of absorb human heating. Honestly, it didn't happen. And my dad was thinking about it for a while, and he was just like, what type of socks do you use, Lily? And I was like, just, I don't know, some socks. And he was like, well, I was just thinking, because you're quite susceptible to this sort of stuff, would it be worth just changing to pure natural fibers like cotton or wool? And I was like, huh, I hadn't thought about that. And we just did the experiment because the shoes that I have are very well prepared for being comfortable overall and for the cold weather. But I just had never thought about my freaking socks, right? Like, you just put on socks every morning and that's just what you do. And guys, it was sincerely so stupid, right? I had like 8 different pairs of socks, two of which happened to be pure cotton and one happened to be pure wool. Honest to God, every single day when I simply put on those and made sure that, I didn't step on every puddle that I found and stuff like that, my feet were actually dry and not like freezing to death, which for me, it was a freaking game changer. Like, honestly, I can't fall asleep or rest properly if my feet feel even cold. And I don't mean just cold like to normal temperature, but just cold with regards to the rest of my body. Like, they need to be at the exact same temperature than my legs or my hands or anything, because otherwise I sincerely cannot relax. And I know that a lot of people with fibromyalgia have that problem with their hands and their feet because of the Reynolds potential correlation in there. So just changing to natural fabrics make you feel naturally warmer, because they essentially have a different relationship with liquids. So whether it is your own sweat or because they've got damp, the drying and heating process is completely different. So it really does help. Like, seriously, check your socks because it generally makes a difference. The other hack that we tried, and honestly it really helped, was using before and after going out and putting on socks a foot spray. Like, it's almost like a foot deodorant, and it essentially just, what it does is sort of creates a film around your feet so that you don't over sweat, and that stops your feet from actually getting colder once the sweat crystallizes and it's getting into a different temperature, a different environment. Like, honestly, those two things just made me so much more comfortable. I've been doing it since I've got back home, and honestly really, really helped me. Oh, hey, yes, Reynolds, exactly. And on that front, and speaking of comfort and temperature, honestly, guys, I cannot recommend this. I literally just took this off my foot. I cannot recommend these slippers enough. They are such a lifesaver. Again, completely absolute random find. I'll give you it's backwards, but it's called Nuvola. They are so lightweight. Like, this literally is nothing. It's just like having socks, essentially. I don't know if you can see, that's all padding, and in the inside it's more padding too. Is memory foam inside the thing. My dad bought these. My dad's never worn slippers in his entire life that I'm aware of, ever. He would always just walk barefoot or just have socks. And he's developing arthritis as well, seems to have fibromyalgia, and his feet have been suffering a lot. He plays a lot of sports, football particularly, so he finds it hard to just walk around barefoot more and more, which is normal as you get older. And he found these slippers completely random in a shoe shop. Turns out that these slippers were originally created by this company for people who go climbing and mountaineering. So you are out in the cold and your feet have, endured a lot of stress, and you need something that will keep you well insulated and will help your feet, relax and recover. So they made these things for mountaineering, and then they realized they were missing out on a huge market, so started mass producing them. And admittedly, they are a bit more expensive than your ordinary, £5 slippers from Primark, but they cost, obviously depends for what model you go for, but they cost around the region of £20. And since I have these slippers, I don't need 70% of the time that I go to bed a hot water bottle. Like, if I just take whatever I have on and put these slippers from the moment I get home, my feet are generally so well insulated that I just don't notice the cold anymore. The few days where I've actually needed a hot water bottle is because I've literally just come from outside and I was wearing my trainers and I got wet or something like that, things that I simply couldn't have avoided. So legit game changer. My feet feel so good. Like, it generally feels like you're walking on a cloud. And I hate slippers. Like, that's the reason why I normally have like the slip-on socks and stuff like that. Honestly, amazing. I can't recommend them enough. Sincerely, really good. And another thing that I would like to introduce you to, which I found really, really nice, and I think a lot of people, not just with fibro, but with postural problems in general, would really benefit from as well, is this wonderful reading pillow. You can't see it, but it is triangular and it has these 3 buttons there. Now, it comes with another part that I left in the other room, which is literally like a cylindrical tube pillow, and you can either not use that part, or you can attach it to any of these button positions to give you either lumbar support, cervical support, or for people who have problems with their middle spine, extra support in there. honestly, it's amazing. And it has a pocket as well, so if you're reading, it's really handy, which is the reason why it was created that way. But it's so good. I've been using it all day today. My back doesn't hurt, and normally my back hurts when I'm sitting on the sofa or on a chair for a very long time. I've used it for reading right before I go to sleep. Very comfortable too. It's honestly such a game changer. And the round one on my neck genuinely makes a difference, because it suffers quite a lot, particularly if you're, looking at something like a screen or something, and you need that support there. It's seriously really, 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 really good. So between that and a 100% wool blanket and this thing that I've been wearing all day, I've literally not needed to put on the heating for a week. And the temperatures that we've been having in the UK, right? We've been having like literally between 2 to 6 degrees each day. It's freaking cold. Normally the heating would be on full blast by this time of the year. And honestly, these things have made such a game changer for me. I feel myself so much more comfortable, much happier in my own skin. And because I'm not worried about not being comfy, about extra pain, or about being too cold, I can relax so much easier. Like, I've actually been able to enjoy things that normally I wouldn't do, like painting, which is great. On that subject, and finding things that are comfortable and make a real huge difference, some of you may have seen the story that I did earlier on this week about something that I realized when we were doing weightlifting. So exercise is very important for anyone with a chronic illness and fibromyalgia, because you need to keep on moving no matter what you do. You just need to keep on moving, even if it's just a little. And I've been trying really hard to get back into a routine that doesn't hurt. So it's been a lot of hit and miss. And mostly for me right now, getting my upper body strength back is really, really important. Like the rest of my body, I walk a lot, so it's not too much of a problem, and I can control that a bit better. But my upper body strength sincerely, needs building up. And the stronger my arms and my back are, the easier it's going to be able to cope with that pain, particularly around my hands. So we've been trying a different routine, and I've been doing a lot of resistance training, which is honestly so much better. It has zero impact, and the little impact that it has, it's just so much more gentle. You have a lot more control. So it's not like when you are in the gym, bench pressing stuff or doing something that is like cardio or whatever that has a lot of high impact. That has really helped. Like, honestly, after nearly 2 hours of doing exercise at home, I wasn't at the gym. We did it here at home with like a very simple routine that I was able to do and pace myself through it. I didn't actually hurt the following day, other than like very specific areas where I knew the exercise hadn't been, accurate or whatever, and the muscle still needs to develop. But like, I wasn't sore. I was perfectly able to move my entire body the following day. Now, what was the real game changer was the fact that we discovered why I was struggling with weights, right? Just the dumbbells or the thing, those little ones. So always, even when I was perfectly healthy, I've struggled to lift just normal weights past maybe 4 kilos or something like that. And quite recently, since the fibromyalgia has been quite bad, like even 2 kilos would sincerely kill me. It wouldn't be so much that the weight was too much. It just kind of felt like my elbow was gonna fall apart. And I stopped because I thought that was quite dangerous, and it was sincerely so painful. It was almost like every time that I lifted these weights, something had just smacked my shoulder and my elbow, and it sincerely hurt. And it didn't feel like muscle exercise pain. It felt like, pain that you shouldn't provoke. So we were looking at it, and James was actually checking it out, and he was like, it's really strange because you're strong enough to lift it, so you should be able to do it. It shouldn't hurt. I wonder why it is. And we were looking into it. It turns out that regardless of the weight, your joints, any joint in your body, shouldn't hurt in that way, like in the way that it feels like it's on fire and about to fall off, no matter what kind of weightlifting you're doing. Like, that means that something is wrong. Not that you are wrong, but that something is wrong. And normally what happens is that you just need support on that area. So we literally just got me doing the weightlifting sitting down, because in order to weightlift with your arms, you don't need to be standing up. What needs to be doing the work is your your biceps or your triceps or whatever. It doesn't matter what the rest of your core is doing. So I sat down and put a pillow, just an ordinary pillow, nothing else, just underneath my shoulder, so that then it was only, I should only feel pain or the strain in the muscles that were working out in my forearm and my biceps. If I tell you guys that I actually was able to lift 5 kilos and it felt like I was just moving air, like, honestly, mind blown. I was so shocked. My elbow didn't even complain a single time. My biceps was properly worked out. My shoulders were properly worked out. It was amazing. I can't tell you how amazing it was to be able to actually get over an obstacle that had been sincerely, causing so much stress and discomfort for me when I was doing, just a simple exercise. Yeah, pillow bracing, like, I mean, it doesn't need to be a pillow, there are some specific, some sort of like elbow patches. They're not exactly patches, but things that you can put in on your elbow that protect the joint, that will also give you that support so that it doesn't hurt when you do it, because it's not your elbow the one that has to do the exercise, it's your biceps. So yeah, but it was just a very simple concept change. Like, when you think about comfort, just really assess what comfort means to you, not just from the point of view of just pillows or whatever, but even if a pillow is super comfy, like, in what way is it comfy? In what way do you need it to work well? Like, do you need it to give you the support in your, cervicals, in your lumbars? It doesn't matter if it's the most comfortable pillow in the world. If it's not doing the comfort service for you that you need, doesn't matter if the blanket or the socks that you have are amazing, if at the end of the day they're causing extra excess sweat and your feet end up so cold that then you're not comfortable anyway. So it really got me thinking into stuff like that. And by doing these simple changes, honestly, I felt so much better in these last 2 weeks than I have in the whole previous month, which, it's, in the dead of winter, it's quite an achievement. So it got me thinking a lot about this. And it also got me to the subject of food. Now, I take my diet very seriously for fibro. I believe wholeheartedly that once you control your diet, you get a lot of control over your illness, because you can, you decide what you eat and what you don't eat and how you eat it. But I was speaking with someone recently who's really struggling with that. And, I know this because I've suffered it before. When you're in chronic pain or chronic fatigue and your stomach doesn't work well and things just hurt, sometimes eating can be very, very hard. And I think sometimes we focus so much on eating what's right because we know we have to eat it, that you can forget to eat altogether or disregard eating altogether. All I can say is, if you're going through this, just eat whatever you can comfortably. Like, if all you can eat is like freaking smoothies through a straw or yogurt, or you can't stomach anything other than bananas, just eat it, because it's more important that you get some nutrients than no nutrients at all. And if all that is getting in your way is just that comfort element, like, just screw it. You will be able to fix your diet later, but make sure that you start eating so that you don't end up so weak that it doesn't matter what you eat anymore. You won't be able to recover from that. There is severe consequences to not taking any type of nutrient whatsoever. You will end up in more pain. You will be much more fatigued, and comfort won't matter anymore, because there won't be nothing that you can do to change it. So honestly, guys, like, I'm normally like a health freak, and I will tell you, be as healthy as possible. But if the difference between you be able to get out of bed right now is you having a McDonald's or not having it, freaking have the McDonald's. Like, you see what I mean? That McDonald's will give you energy. Maybe you won't feel great, but you will start moving, and then you can say, okay, I use that as a crutch. Now it's time to let go of that crutch and develop new habits. But it's, it is very important. And I know a lot of people struggle with that right now as well, just because it's the winter, or maybe because you've decided that it's the new year and you should go on a diet. Like, honestly, don't eat in a way that is making you uncomfortable, and to the point that you will just stop eating, because that's just gonna help nobody. So essentially, embrace your comfort, analyze your inner comfort a lot, and just, if you need to do a little bit of research, there is actually a lot of stuff out there. And all you need to do is just, figure out what works for you. And at the end of the day, it has to work for you. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work for anyone else. Like, I'm sharing these things in hope that it helps somebody else. but it just doesn't have to, you know, it's not a one size fits all. So don't worry about what anyone else may think, or about what anyone else thinks that you need to be comfortable. All that matters is that you are happy, and that makes a genuine difference to you. So, you know, that's really what I wanted to show you guys today, and to think about comfort in a more holistic way, rather than just how many pillows and blankets do I have around me, essentially. Just a couple of comments in here. Sorry, my Instagram froze and I wasn't able to read all the comments, but thank you so much everyone that has been commenting. Yeah, it's hard to overstate the impact food has on the state of mind as well. 100%. It's just so important. Just order Domino's, lol, I bet you have. So yeah, not eating can lead to worsening depression and anxiety, 100%. And unfortunately, I know a lot of people who, because of mental health illness and then chronic illness and pain related issues, have ended up becoming anorexic or bulimic, which obviously causes then a whole new other set of issues. And it's, you know, it's sincerely quite a big problem. So comfort food exists for a reason. If you can't move away from your comfort food, that's fine. If the only way that you can eat and process is through a straw or just solids or a specific thing, screw it. That is a lot more important. So then you can start feeling comfortable about yourself and moving forward. Because, you know, when you have a chronic illness, once you find comfort, you start feeling more human. And in a world that constantly feels like it's trying to dehumanize us and putting us aside from mainstream society, finding that comfort sphere is so important that once you start just building a little bit around it, it will get so much easier to do more. So that's it. That's all for today. Thank you, everyone. I hope this is helpful. If you want to find out anything else about some stuff that I've been trying, or things that you may have tried and are not sure if it's working or if it's worthwhile, you know, drop me a line. I'm always happy to talk about it. And yeah, I catch you guys on next Friday, more or less same time. And again about some form of fibromyalgia issue. Take care and have a good weekend. Bye.